And the Khalistani rampage being seen in the US, Canada, UK and Australia remains a matter of concern. In another incident that has now come to light, where Khalistanis carried out a rally outside the Indian embassies, this one in Melbourne and in other countries as well. In fact, in Canada and in US as well, and in UK among other regions. Now, in the latest visuals have surfaced of the Indian nationals who were seen staging a protest outside the Indian embassy in Toronto. So it was on 8th of July, which is Saturday, that protest was carried out by the Indian community against the Khalistani rampage in Toronto. They were seen waving of flags. The Indian community was seen waving in the Indian flags as a mark of protest against the Khalistanis outside the Indian consulate in Toronto. So it was not just in Toronto, visuals also surfaced from London, from Washington DC and in Melbourne as well, where Khalistani rampage has been seen over the last couple of days. In fact, security has been heightened outside the Indian embassy in Washington DC, with the Indian envoy himself personally taking stock of the security measures outside the Indian embassy in Washington DC. So the Khalistani rampage being seen in these countries remains a matter of concern. The visuals there on your screens is of the Indian community leader members who were seen staging a counter-protest after the Khalistanis carried out a rally, a protest rally that they had called outside the Indian embassy in several countries. So it's not just in Toronto, visuals also surfaced from London, from Washington DC and from Melbourne as well, where Khalistani rampage has been seen. Meanwhile, the Indian envoy to US was seen inspecting the Indian embassy in Washington DC, the visuals of which also were seen coming. Security has been heightened outside the Indian embassy in Washington DC ahead of a protest call by the Khalistanis. Let's quickly go across to a senior executive editor, Abhishek Kapoor, also joining us. Abhishek, this is a matter of concern, of course. Visuals have been coming in from these countries, including Melbourne, London, and in Washington DC as well. The latest the visuals that we see are from Melbourne, where Khalistani rally was carried out.
Yes, so the four places where these rallies are taking place, you rightly mentioned, Melbourne in Australia, London, the United Kingdom, Toronto in Canada, and San Francisco in the United States. In these respective jurisdictions, Samiksha, this is not happening. So, insofar as security of our diplomats is concerned, they have been communicated and at the highest level. In fact, we have underscored that just homilies won't suffice, and just statements of condemnation won't, and that once there is intelligence, once there is evidence that these vandals and backed by terrorist elements, in turn backed by the Pakistani ISI, are hell-bent on compromising India's territorial integrity and sovereignty, these jurisdictions need to do something about it, and they need to be seen to be doing something about it. And for example, just day before yesterday, we had the United Kingdom National Security Advisor, Sir Tim Barrow, in New Delhi, and he was told in no uncertain terms that the evidence of their sincerity would be in what happens on July 8th when those protests take place outside the Indian High Commission. Currently, of course, our own agencies are investigating and profiling all these people who are behind these attacks on Indian missions abroad, and even that would be taken to logical conclusion. So, for example, in the same dialogue that NSA Doval had with the UK NSA, it was told that if need be, those guys, if they are found to be involved in vandalism, act of attacking or defiling Indian flag, etc., it to be deported. So I think over the long term, there is a plan that has been put in place by Indian agencies, Indian government, and in tandem, the Ministries of External Affairs and Home Ministry, as also, of course, the Office of the National Security Advisor, which means essentially the Prime Minister's office, working in tandem to make sure that all these people, these anti-India forces, they realize that this is not an India they take on and they get away with it lightly.
Yes. Abhishek, this Khalistani nexus is only seem to be getting active by the day. Do you feel a stronger countermeasure is needed and that a stronger response would definitely come in by the MEA in the days to come?
Well, there is a reason why these forces are gathering steam, because they are getting pumped in by the Pak-based ISI. And the reason is because Pakistan, which is down in the dumps and doldrums, they cannot accept the fact that India has moved on and India is on road to becoming the third largest economy. We are already fifth largest, and that we are growing at a fast clip, and we are going to be a developed nation, and possibly by 2047, Pakistan will still be down in the dumps, seeking dollars, seeking loans, seeking debt. So I think they want to somehow sabotage India's march to progress. That's why you are seeing this gathering of the steam of these forces. But as I said, there is a long-term plan to tackle that. Hopefully that would work out. And in the immediate, of course, on July 8th, which is today, and from Melbourne in Australia to San Francisco in the United States, wherever these are happening, hopefully the local administrations will take care of the assurances given.
All right, Abhishek, thank you for those details. In fact, listening to the reactions that have come in from the Indian community members who were seen staging a counter-protest after the Khalistani rally was carried out outside the Indian embassy in Toronto.
Canada is a peaceful country and we want it to remain peaceful, and we are trying to tell the government of Canada, take cognizance of this, that this is not freedom of expression. This is for sure not a freedom of expression. When you tell somebody that you are killing somebody or you are displaying a killing act like the one which happened in Brampton last week, you are not basically showing the freedom of expression, but you are promoting terrorism and separatism. So government of Canada is requested by the peace-loving Canadians like me and Sunil ji that they take cognizance of this and take appropriate measures and cut the perpetrators to the side.
हम यहाँ पर टोरंटो में CGI के सामने खड़े हैं और ये खालिस्तानियों को फेस करने के लिए यहाँ पर we are trying to stop all these Khalistanis nonsense here, and we are here for the solidarity of Canada and India all together. And they are giving wrong information, saying they want to kill our diplomats, which is not good, and we are totally against that.